Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to be learning how to draft a basic pencil skirt pattern. So if you're a beginner in this fashion business, this video is definitely for you. So these are all the tools I'll be using for this tutorial, and the measurements I'll be needing for this tutorial as well: the waist circumference, the hip circumference, the length, and waist to hip points. So basically I'll be using my measurements for this tutorial. So I'll just take out my rule and rule all the lines just so we can impute our measurement properly. So this line is going to serve as our starting point. You can use the edge of the pattern paper as your starting point as well, but I just want to use this line so we don't get confused. So this is our starting point, which is the waist. Like I said, I'm using my measurement for the sake of this tutorial. So from my waist to my hip is 9. So I'm just going to take my measuring tape and measure from my waist to my hip and mark 9 right there. And then take the full length of the skirt. I'm using 20 inches. I want the skirt to be short. And then I'll add 2 inches for sewing, for hemming. That is for the folding allowance. So I'll just rule out the lines. This is the hip. This is the full length of the skirt. And the 2 inches I added for folding allowance. So we just go ahead and impute our measurement. So like I said, I'm using my measurement for the sake of this tutorial. And you know, if your material is folded into 4, you divide all your measurement by 4. So my waist is 26 divided by 4 is 6.5. I'll just mark it right here. Then I'll add 1 inch for that. Come to the hip and then I'll do the same thing here. My hip is 36 divided by 4 is 9. I'll just mark the 9 right here and then add 2 inches for sewing allowance. Then I'll go ahead and connect the points from the waist down to the hip. So whatever you have on the hip points or line, you bring it down and mark it on the length. So you just mark it right there. Then you connect the points. You bring the line down to the length. So I usually like my skate pencil from the knee point. So I'm just going to go in by 1 inch to have that pencil look. I'll go in by 1 inch on the length line. I'll just go in by 1 inch and then connect the line up to the hip to have that curvy look. So you see how pencil is looking now. So I'll just mark here excess. I'm just going to cut it out. We don't need that anymore. So we'll come up and measure our darts. How to get your dart? You measure your nipple to nipple. My nipple to nipple is 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I've marked the 4, then I'll come down by 4. That is how to get your center, the center of your skirt. Then remember the 1 inch we left for that. We are just going to mark ½ inch on both sides. We mark ½ inch here and ½ inch on the other side. And then connect it down to meet the line. So this is our dart. Just indicates your waist, your hip, length of your skirt. So we're just going to cut it. So this is the front part of our skirt. We are going to use that to cut the back. The only thing we are going to add to the back is to mark 2 inches for zip allowance. So we are only adding 2 inches to the back for our zip allowance. You mark the 2 inches from up like that down, then you roll out the line. So this is for zip allowance. We're just going to place this front pattern right here to cut out the back now. The only difference here is that we added 2 inches for the zip allowance for the back parts. So we just mark our points so that we don't do mistake when cutting the back. We just mark all the points. The waist, you mark it on the back parts. Then we'll just take this off and then connect the points. From the waist down to the hip, and then down to the length. Then we roll out the hip points. So this is the back of our skirt. We just come up and then indicate waist, hip, and the length. We just come and then put our dart as well, the 4 inches for darts, and then we are coming down by 5 here, not 4, because the back dart is usually longer than the front, so we come down by 5, not 4. And then the 1 inch we left for the darts. After you connect the line together, the 1/2 inch we left for the darts, we just mark 1/2 inch on both sides. 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch on the other side. And then connect the line. So this is our back dart, and this is our zip side. See how the back part is looking. We just take our scissors and then cut out the back parts. So we have succeeded in drafting out our basic skirt pattern. So in my next video, I'm going to be placing this pattern on our fabric so we know how cut cut it on our fabric. So you stay tuned for my next video. Thank you for watching. I hope you find this video helpful.